The professional resume is one of the very first things a potential employer will use to decide on the best candidates for an available job and is the first step toward a successful career in any dream position. It is the one of the way to achieve a callback or an interview from the employer, hence deserves a lot of attention from all prospective job seekers. In this art, many employers will only give a resume a 20 to 30 second glance before deciding to keep it or toss it out. You need to make sure those few seconds count. Although it seems like common sense, having a rock-solid resume is critical to landing your next job. Crafting an exceptional resume these days has the added challenge of attracting not only hiring managers but the software bots doing their upfront work. An unprofessional resume, one that is difficult to read, confusing, covered in errors, or unrelated to the job the person is applying for, will get tossed in the trash right away. Hiring managers often get dozens, even hundreds, of applicants for each job. An unprofessional resume makes you look unprofessional as a job seeker and will cost you losing an interview. 8.1 First, you need to understand what is the purpose of your resume. Your resume is a snapshot of you as a professional. When you're applying for a job, you don't have the benefit of being able to introduce yourself in person, answer questions about what you do, or make a personal impression. So your resume has to do that talking for you. It includes basic contact information, information about your skills, a summary of the work experience you have, and usually an indication of what you're seeking. It takes this information and organizes it in a straightforward, easy-to-read format for someone who likely doesn't know anything about you. That's it. What a resume isn't, it's not a long, conversational story about your life. It's not a place to give opinions about your last boss. It's not a place to list every class you've ever taken. Your resume is a very focused, targeted version of you, the best version of your professional self, for the job opportunity you're seeking. Give your resume a fresh start. If you learned how to create a resume 10 years ago or longer, you might be surprised to know that an objective is no longer an essential part of a standard resume. These resume tips were written to showcase your unique talents and skills and, when utilized correctly, should result in a click from both the hiring manager and stonewalling software bot. Use keywords in your resume. Choosing the right keywords is essential to getting past software and human screeners. These keywords aren't the same as resume buzzwords, those are almost always overused and will get your resume a one-way trip to the circular file. No, resume keywords are individual to the job you're applying for and should change every time you submit your resume for a new position. How to select keywords. To figure out the best keywords to use, scan the job listing and make a list of the most important words, e.g. job titles like regional manager or data scientist, and skills words like proficient in JavaScript or proven seller. Use the words that apply to your experience, skills, and job history, and craft a professional profile or branding statement. Choose the best resume format. Several basic types of resumes are best for job openings. Depending on your personal and professional circumstances, choose a chronological, functional, combination, or targeted resume. The format you select will depend on your employment history and credentials. Chronological, this is the most frequently used and presents your work history starting with the most recent job first. Functional, if you have a spotty work history, you may want to use a functional resume that focuses on your skills and experience. Combination, this resume layout includes both your skills and your chronological work history. The chronological format is the most common one. If you choose a functional or combination resume, tailor the information you include accordingly. With a functional resume, you'll highlight your job qualifications. With a combination resume, your skills will be listed first, followed by your employment history. Qualifications. An employer's number one goal is to find a well-qualified candidate. How can you show that you're qualified, and the best possible person for the job? Start by matching your qualifications to the job. If employers are looking for someone who is detail-oriented, make sure your organizational skills and ability to manage lots of projects without mistakes is on display. In the job descriptions on your resume, go beyond listing day-to-day tasks and responsibilities. Think bigger. Employers want to know what you'll accomplish if you're hired on. Give them a sense of your abilities by putting your achievements, whether it's overhauling an inefficient system, saving the company money, or generating sales revenue, on display. And make sure that most relevant accomplishments, the ones that readily translate to the job you want, are most visible. Add a cover letter. A cover letter, even if it's not required, is the best way to highlight the specific qualifications you have for the job. You can use your cover letter to focus on the experience that best suits you for the job. Here's how to write a cover letter for a resume. Empty or flowery language such as outstanding or interesting. Every phrase on your resume should point to a specific skill or accomplishment. Otherwise, it is just a distraction. Stick to the facts, and keep your tone simple and focused. Ignore mentioning the obvious. While it's great to have the mindset of leaving no stone unturned, everyone already assumes you have experience with Microsoft Word and Outlook. There's also no point in mentioning that you know English if it's obvious that you've worked in an English-speaking country your entire life. Instead, save your precious resume real estate for more technical skills that are far more impressive. If you do know a second language though, be sure to mention it, as it's currently a very sought-after talent that companies love. Don't get overly fancy with pictures and colors unless you're in an industry like fashion or graphic design that openly encourages resumes with unique and aesthetically pleasing layouts. It's almost always better to stick with a basic resume template. This is true for a number of reasons. For one, hiring managers are used to seeing standard resume formats. They don't want to spend extra time getting accustomed to your unique layout. To be quite frank, some hiring managers won't even bother reading resumes that aren't formatted according to industry standards. They assume the resume is all style and no substance. On top of that, let's not forget that resumes need to appease the resume robots. As you might expect, robots are heartless and they don't care for pretty colors or aesthetics. In fact, they might have trouble processing your resume, and this could severely hurt your chances of moving past the first stage of the hiring process. Save the document. Select a file name for your resume that includes your own name when saving your resume, Jane Applicant Resume.doc, for example. Be prepared to save it in a variety of formats, like Microsoft Word, Google Docs, or PDF, for example, so that you can respond to employer requests for a specific type of document. Remove your address. If you're not local, recruiters might not look any further. If you are, recruiters may take your commute time into account and turn you down if they think it would be too long. Match your resume to LinkedIn. It's a good idea to include the URL of your LinkedIn profile on your resume. It's even better if you personalize your LinkedIn URL, so it includes your name. Do take the time to make sure your resume matches your LinkedIn profile because employers will check. Additional tip: target your resume for each job you apply for. Even though your resume is done, there's one more quick step that will help your resume get selected by the applicant tracking systems that companies use to screen resumes and the hiring managers who read the applications that are selected. Incorporate the qualifications from the job listing into your resume job descriptions, skills, summary, and objective or profile. It only takes a few minutes, but using the same words and terms the employer uses will help ensure you're a strong match for the job. Gone are the days when a resume was a laundry list of your career and responsibilities. Resumes these days are aggressive sales pitches intended to grab the reader's attention and convince him or her that you are the best fit for the job. Think like a marketing person and adopt creative strategies to make your career look good. Your resume is like a display in a shop window. Showcase only the best. Change the slant or perspective of what you want to say to make it more appealing and word each entry carefully to elicit the best response. Be careful not to stray from facts at any point. 8.2 The best time for resume makeover. Most people don't think about updating their resumes until, suddenly, they find themselves out of work and looking for a job. But with job security a thing of the past, we all need to think more carefully about job change and how that impacts our financial security. But great opportunities appear unexpectedly, and you'll wish you'd edited it yesterday. Or, you're invited to join a panel or connect over email with a prestigious contact, and you need to attach your resume. And your heart sinks a bit as you realize you haven't even opened it since you landed your last position over a year ago. Uncertainty is the only certainty these days, so whether it is just time for a change or cutbacks are in the wind, maintaining a current resume is simply a smart career management strategy that keeps you ready for disaster or opportunity. When you start a new job, the best resumes highlight quantifiable achievements, not job responsibilities. But when you're a new employee, you don't have any real accomplishments yet. Instead of copying and pasting snippets from the job posting onto your resume, tell the story of why you were hired. Now is also the time to update your career summary section. Coming off the job search circuit, you should tweak this part of your resume while your value proposition is fresh in your mind. Promotion or change of responsibilities? Let the resume know. Even if you stay at the same organization and progress your career, there is no reason your resume should not be updated in sync with your increasing responsibilities. Write a resume that clearly charts your progress within the organization. Mark out timelines basis your job's responsibilities at a particular designation. Create a resume layout that clearly outline when you were promoted to senior project manager from project manager. These updates are indicative not only of your skills but your quality of being up to speed with the ever-evolving careers around you. Changing jobs? Time to change your resume. Market is highly uncertain, which is why people shift jobs from one location to another, or even from an industry to altogether new one. A professional resume is one which has all the necessary elements up to date. If you are looking for a new job, it is time to update your resume with all the skills you have gained till the very date of your application for the new job. You are being hired from your current place of work. Hence it makes sense to serve the employers the most updated resume, complete with references, as it lends credibility to your skills. What we want out of our professional commitments keeps on changing as we evolve and gain experience. Make sure your resume objective clearly states your expectations of a new workplace so that it serves you as well as the new organization better. When you acquire new skills, whether it's an accreditation, certification or new proficiency, e.g., learning a second language, skills strengthen your resume, so keep yours current. Industry-specific credentials can also serve as keywords to help your resume pass through application tracking systems. Do a quarterly assessment of your resume and remove any outdated skills or obsolete software. Look at job postings in your field to determine what skills are in demand. When you complete a big project, did you close a major transaction? Wrap up development on a new product? These accomplishments need to be reflected on your resume. Anytime you finish a successful project, make sure it goes directly onto your resume. Citing quantifiable results is crucial, e.g., implemented new accounting system that saved the company $50,000 in annual operating costs. Include such details as how many people worked on the team, what your role entailed and the hurdles you crossed. When you get laid off, getting fired is one thing, in which case, you'll need to do more than update your resume. Getting laid off as part of a downsizing is a different story. Unemployment isn't a black mark if it's a result of the company's performance. Part of bouncing back, though, involves working on an updated resume. And rather than try to hide the fact that you're unemployed, a strategy that could put off prospective hiring managers, include in your summary section why you were terminated, e.g., laid off as part of a 20% reduction in staff. Additionally, you'll want to update your work experience to reflect what it is you're currently doing. Yet putting that you're now a job seeker isn't very appealing to prospective hiring managers. The better move, join a professional association and take on a volunteer position, such as an events coordinator, that you can add to your resume. 8.3 How to boost your CV using LinkedIn. Once the college is over, the primary focus of almost every graduate student is to get a job that they would enjoy and be proud of. You might be having relevant academic qualifications and all the skills required to grab a particular position. But, to beat the competition, you need to work on other important aspects as well, and a professional CV tops the list. Since the CV is often the first impression a prospective employer has of you, it should be well crafted and robust enough to grasp the employer's attention. Social media is taking almost every industry by storm, and talent acquisition is no exception. Many recruiters now use LinkedIn to find talent for their organizations. So, to build connections with them, you should have a well-built LinkedIn profile in the first place. It will help potential employers find and connect with you. But, how can you use LinkedIn to boost your CV and cover letter? Find new job opportunities. You might already be knowing that apart from making connections, LinkedIn also helps us find new jobs. Recruiters often use this platform to post new job opportunities so that the aspiring candidates become aware of them and put forward their applications. But how can it help you boost your CV? Well, job listings on LinkedIn also come with a job description, a summary of your job duties and responsibilities, if chosen for that position. These details will help you tailor your CV accordingly. If you craft your CV while keeping these details in mind, this will strengthen your chances of getting hired. Get an idea from other professionals. If you are not sure how to accurately represent your knowledge and work experience on your CV, take a glance at the LinkedIn profiles of other successful professionals in your field. Indeed, you need to have an outstanding LinkedIn profile to make such connections. See how they have described their work and how it can help you portray yourself most effectively. LinkedIn is a vast pool of professionals, so you will find a lot of examples that will help you move in the right direction. Include the right skills according to a particular job. Customizing your CV for a specific job role is often very challenging. You need to make sure that you are mentioning all the skills required to fulfill a particular job duty. On the other hand, mentioning skills that are not relevant to a specific job role will only distract the employer. But how would you know which skills you should include in your CV and which not? Through LinkedIn, of course. See the skills other professionals in your desired role have mentioned on their LinkedIn profile. You can take inspiration from them and add skills accordingly. Correlate your LinkedIn headline and CV summary to make your CV appear more credible. Make sure to mention your LinkedIn profile on it. Also, align the content of your CV summary with your LinkedIn headline and description to reinforce the employer's trust in you. Correlating your CV and LinkedIn content will help you communicate your brand effectively, and the employer will be able to understand what position you are mainly targeting for. Connect with a professional CV writer. LinkedIn is a vast marketplace where businesses, professionals, and aspiring candidates connect. And if you want real help to build your CV, try connecting with a professional CV writer. He has sufficient knowledge, skills, and tips to help you make your CV and cover letter stand out, both of which are essential parts of the hiring process. Don't hesitate to ask him specific questions regarding CV building that you are doubtful about. Just like your CV, your LinkedIn profile also means a lot to your employer. Hence, your LinkedIn profile should perfectly demonstrate your career history and future aspirations. A professional LinkedIn profile along with a strong CV will not only help you land your dream job, but it also encourages you to build a network of like-minded professionals that may help you throughout your career. So, make sure to update it regularly. If you don't know how to market yourself through this fantastic platform, you can ask for the help of a LinkedIn profile creation service. This service helps aspiring candidates, like you, to build an outstanding LinkedIn profile that leads them to success. 8.4 Resume mistakes to avoid. You've been applying to jobs like crazy, but it seems as though all of your applications have disappeared into the black hole of the internet. Wondering why your resume isn't getting you any interviews? We're willing to bet it's not because you're unqualified or just not good enough, which, for the record, you are good enough. It's likely because your resume has one or more fatal errors. Keep these common mistakes in mind as you prepare a new resume or update your existing one. Typographical errors. This may seem obvious, but you would be shocked how often these kinds of simple resume mistakes make it to a recruiter's desk. There's simply no excuse for sloppiness, misused words, incorrect spelling, or punctuation overuse on your resume. These kinds of mistakes will get your resume tossed straight into the reject pile. How do you catch these simple but easily missed resume mistakes? After you finish with your resume, sleep on it and take your mind off it. Then give it a look with fresh eyes. A technique I use sometimes is reading all the content backwards, which forces you to slow down and catch more mistakes. Then, just to be safe, let a trusted friend look at it. Obviously, a spell checker should factor in as well. Once you've done all this, you can send your resume off with confidence. Incorrect or missing contact information. The goal of a resume is to land you an interview. If you're missing pertinent contact information, or the contact information you've included is incorrect, you're making it difficult for recruiters to get in touch with you. Also, if you're not detailed enough to provide the correct contact information, what does that say about how well you will do on the job if hired? Also, be wary of the location and format you use to list your contact information on your resume. Never add your contact information to the header portion of a Word document or paste your contact information in as an image. Applicant tracking systems (ATS) cannot read that information and will list your contact details as missing or incomplete in the system. Failure to demonstrate and quantify results. A recruiter wants to see the results you've achieved in past positions, as it speaks to the potential you have to do well in the role for which they're trying to fill. Results are best described as quantifiable results: business growth numbers, improved retention stats, increased sales, proven return on investment, and so on. Without demonstrating or providing quantifiable results, it might appear that you had responsibilities, yet didn't take initiative or achieve actual results. Annoying buzzwords and/or obvious keyword stuffing. It's important to include keywords from the job posting in your resume in order to make it past the applicant tracking software (ATS) recruiters use to scan and weed out unqualified candidates. However, make sure you're incorporating keywords in a way that sounds natural. If you deliberately stuff keywords into your resume or use a bunch of annoying buzzwords, it will be painfully obvious to the recruiter, not to mention a big turnoff. Use keywords wisely and incorporate them into your resume so they make sense and flow naturally. Consider having someone else read your resume to see if any of the keywords you've used stand out in an unforgiving way. Leaving out social media links. Many people aren't using the presence of social media to their advantage and use their resume as a standalone document, Patty says. But in a constantly connected world where being transparent and informed is critical at every stage of the hiring process, it only makes sense to add links to your professional social media profiles. Add your LinkedIn URL. By linking to your updated profile, you will immediately gain credibility through your recommendations and endorsements of your skills and show insight into your personal brand and value using an objective statement. Resume objective statements are a thing of the past. Using one indicates that you're not up to speed with current resume trends. Instead, use a professional summary in the section below your name in lieu of an objective statement. Your professional summary should include 2 to 4 sentences that read like an elevator pitch and indicate what you can do for the company. Format inconsistency. Employers might require your resume to be in a certain format depending on their company's applicant tracking system (ATS). However, unless the company has specific instructions, the safest way to send your resume is as a PDF. The main reason being that a PDF doesn't change depending on the computer's operating system. If you send a docx file created in OpenOffice and it gets opened in Microsoft Word, it might look like a real mess. Also, make sure your resume doesn't get out of hand by using a number of different fonts, graphs, and neon colors. Keep it neat, clean and easy to read. Attempting the one-size-fits-all approach whenever you try to develop a generic resume to send to all job ads, you almost always end up with something employers will toss in the recycle bin. Your lack of effort screams, "I'm not particularly interested in your company." Frankly, any old job will do. Employers want to feel special and want you to write a resume specifically for them. They expect you to clearly show how and why you fit the position in a specific organization. How to avoid resume mistakes. Reread and edit your resume. At the very least, be sure to read your resume over once before submitting it for an application. However, it is very hard to catch your own mistakes. People tend to see what they intended to type, and not necessarily what's actually on the page. One tip is to read your resume and other application documents from the bottom up, or from the last page back to the first page. This keeps you from focusing too much on the content and layout of the page, and more on any sentence-level errors. Rereading your documents out loud can also help you catch errors. Ask a friend. It is always a good idea to ask a friend or family member to look over your application before submitting it. Unlike you, they will be looking at your materials with a fresh set of eyes and may spot errors you do not. Utilize online resources. Sign up for a free trial of Grammarly, which will help you catch more mistakes than just using Word's spelling and grammar checker. You can use Microsoft Word's checker first, then run Grammarly to catch the rest of your errors. You can also use Grammarly's online grammar check for free. Editor is another site you can use for online proofreading and copy editing. It's pay as you go, and one of the areas they specialize in is resumes and cover letters. There is nothing like perfect resume format, you only need to avoid the mistakes and make it possible to present yourself on resume in best possible way. Remember, your resume, which is a snapshot of your professional life, should always speak true of you.